Hello, Isaac. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. It's you and me, man.
um, that's funny. I wanted to tell you now that I emailed Counseling Wise like a week and a half or 2 weeks ago about doing a one-on-one consult with you
Huh.
because I know we had talked before. You said it was 200 an hour, right?
Yeah, I didn't see that. That's really weird.
Um, just because I'm launching a group practice and
Mhm.
I don't know why I'm doing it.
Maybe someday you'll know why.
Yeah.
Right now,
But I
might not.
wanted your expertise on just the website stuff and other things
Uh-huh.
you think would be helpful.
Yeah. So, what's your email?
It's Isaac ISAAC
Mm-hmm.
at wholewellnesstherapy.com.
wholewellnesstherapy.com. And
I
I'm
don't.
going to send you a link to schedule an hour call with me.
Okay.
And then I can just collect the payment when we talk.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry about that. Never saw it come through. Was it an email or was it a contact form thing? Do you know? Do you remember?
Contact form.
Huh. Wow. Okay. We'll have to go check. You know how that goes. Maybe something's not working. All right. I just sent that off to you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Hey, Scott. How are you? Oh, you're muted.
I just got off another.
I just unmuted you.
Okay. I'm good.
Good. All right. Well, let's go ahead and dive in. And as people show up, they show up. So either one of you have any questions for this call?
Wow. I will just say I was involved a year or so ago, and then life stuff. My dad was end of life, and so I stepped away for a while, and I'm just kind of stepping back in.
Yeah.
And, kind of more observing today, and just kind of getting myself, my feet underneath me a little bit with this.
Sure.
The one thing that the place that I'm at right now is, I really want somebody to have somebody that can do an assessment on my website and I can get really clear on, is it the right platform for me with the item that I have to do. And that's probably the biggest thing that I'm sitting with right now.
Okay. We do have that service, if that would be helpful. We have something called the scorecard analysis.
Okay.
And we go through your site in detail, basically saying, hey, this is really good. This could use some work. We would add this if it were our site. Great. To make you rank better, whatever. It's $199.
Great.
You end up, yeah, it's like kind of a no-brainer. You end up getting like a 30 to 40 page document with screenshots and everything and a video walkthrough. So we're really all about not just trying to techno-babble you to death, right? We're about you really understanding what we're talking about. And then you get a call with me where we hop on and we go over it and you get to ask any clarifying questions or whatever.
That's exactly what I need. That's perfect.
All right. Yeah. I will put the link to that in the chat.
Are you, is everybody working next week?
You know, some travel here and there and whatever. Definitely a lower effort week. But
I've carved out time to really focus on this stuff, so I might reach out and see if people are around.
Yeah, if you order it, we'll assign it as soon as possible, and it wouldn't surprise me if one of our PMs is, you know, because with the holiday being on Wednesday, it's a really weird thing. I think a lot of people are working more than any other year because, you know, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. Do you see that link there? Chat. Do you see a little like yellow or orange chat thing at the bottom?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Practice marketing scorecard. Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's right. That's great.
Yeah.
I'll probably sit in for a while anyway
Yeah.
this morning just to kind of, again, get my feet underneath me.
No worries. Yeah. Okay, Isaac, how about you?
So yes, I do have some questions. Last call that we did, I took notes and made all the changes that you had suggested, like as far as like adding written directions and location pages and privacy and terms of service and all that stuff. But the one thing, I just had an SEO audit done. I paid somebody to do it, and it wasn't that great, I think. Meaning like, but part of the problem they were saying is that some of my extensions for like anxiety therapy, right? I before I got introduced to your guys' program and some other stuff, my understanding of SEO was very simplified. So I put in my like anxiety therapy, for instance, like wholewellnesstherapy.com/Sacramento anxiety therapy. And now I don't know if I should change that just to match the keyword, because I get a lot of organic. I get a lot of organic results now.
Yeah. So were they saying you're over optimized with that slug? Is that what they were saying?
Well, they're saying it doesn't match my H1 headings because my H1 heading is just anxiety therapy.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I don't know if you want to take a look at it, if that would be more helpful.
Sure, no worries. Actually, I'm going to try to just share a window instead of my whole screen since it'll be too big. Maybe.
My daughter is about to come running in here.
Your daughter? Okay, let me, that's okay. We welcome the whole family. Wholewellnesstherapy.com.
Where do you live, Isaac?
I live in Sacramento.
Okay.
California.
Okay.
How about yourself?
That's where my daughter is.
I'm in
okay.
My older one. All right. Here we go. All right. You see your site?
Yep.
I'm going to make this bigger. Okay. So specialties, anxiety therapy. Your slug is Sacramento anxiety therapy. Your tag up here is that. I don't really think that matters a whole lot.
Okay.
Honestly.
Now, they were saying I need to have, if you scroll up for a second, they said I need to have it in that, like, is anxiety taking over your life, that I need to have the keyword there too.
It's best if you do. So is this actually an H1 tag up here?
I think so.
Okay, let's view the source code. There's the title, anxiety therapy. Well, let me just do this. Title, anxiety therapy in Sacramento. That's a title tag. Professional anxiety therapy in Midtown. That's the, let's look for H1 on this page. I just don't know how Wix, what Wix uses as an H1, where they pull it from. Yeah, it doesn't look to me like that is an H1 at the top.
So my understanding is I just go in there and label it H1, correct? Like and choose H1.
I don't know how Wix works on the back end, but let's see here. H1 class anxiety. See right here, just says anxiety.
Now, why wouldn't it say anxiety therapy? Because they said for all of my pages it was like just the first word,
Uh-huh.
which that's a bummer because I've had the site live for like a year.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me show you another way you can do it really easily.
Okay.
Again, this is an outdated site.
Mhm.
I think it really needs a design upgrade. But if I just go to this page,
Mm-hmm.
right there, H1 tag.
Well, maybe I'm not understanding, but what does it mean like when it's an H1 tag?
It just means that it's labeled an H1 in the back end,
Okay.
which then has more weight for SEO.
And that's what I thought that it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. And so in your case, you have this up here on the photo, but I'm not sure. So however Wix handles that field on a photo
Uh-huh.
in the back end, right? Because all you're doing is you're adding this in. You're not saying it's an H1. You're
Oh,
adding it into their site.
well, when I can highlight it and I can select H1.
Huh. Yeah, it just doesn't look
If you
like
go,
it's becoming an H1 in the back end.
well, I think only that first word is only
Yeah.
anxiety, and
Yeah.
I don't know why that would be the case.
Yeah, and I don't know Wix enough to help you with that.
Okay.
But you could call Wix
Yeah, I might do that.
or, chat in their support or whatever. Yeah, and honestly, having a slug that says Sacramento Anxiety Therapy, it's a little over optimized. So if Google cares, they could ding you at some point. We mostly just use the term, and then we rely on the location page and the address and the footer and all that kind of stuff to say where the location is. However, we do have some clients who have it still, and they don't seem to be being hurt by it at all because they had it as leftovers before they started working with us. So I wouldn't really worry about it. If you're getting organic traffic, I would leave it that way. If you ever feel like, like if Google rolls out algorithm correction and they ding people for over optimizing their URLs, then you'll see a hit to your rankings. They'll go down, and then you can go in there and change it.
I mean, do you think with starting the new group practice and hiring clinicians that it would be, I mean, I'm a year into it, but would it be better to go in and change those?
I would leave it. I would leave it as it is.
Okay.
I would just leave it. I don't think it's that big of a deal. And I don't, they say that you shouldn't be doing that stuff, but I don't think they enforce that. Okay. So I would just go with what you have. And if at some point anything changes, then go ahead and deal with it. But I don't think it's going to be a problem.
And do you suggest, like with blog posts too, to have the meta descriptions done sort of like the pages?
The way we treat blog posts is we actually do not worry about SEO on blogs anymore. Okay. So what we use blogs for is to expand the content hub. Mm-hmm. So you have the specialty page, and then you have blogs hanging off of it, and the specialty page links out and back, out and back, out and back, like petals on a flower. Mm-hmm. And we don't worry about SEOing those because they're not going to rank anyway. You should really be writing blogs about, things like what's the difference between stress and anxiety. That kind of thing, more in-depth information about a certain aspect of the specialty, the anxiety. And so we don't worry about those ranking because there's no way you're going to rank locally or like it's not a local term. What is the difference between stress and anxiety? That's not a local term. So Google's not going to, you're going to be competing with the world to rank for that.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. So we just extend the content hub to make the specialty page rank with that.
Would I just put something like in the footer of the blog, like, about where the counseling practice is or something like that in order to try to optimize those a little bit, or not really?
No, in the footer of your site, you probably have an address anyway, right?
Oh, I mean, sorry, in the end of a blog.
Yeah, so at the end of a blog, we just link back to the specialty page.
Okay.
So I'll show you. Just go here. Look at a blog post that's linked to a specialty page. At the bottom, It should say to find out more about my services, click here, PTSD
Okay.
treatment, so it goes back. And at the bottom of our sites anyway, we always have the address. So this page already has the address with the city.
Okay.
Okay. Well, or wherever it is. Here it is. Over here. Yeah. Okay.
And would you mind looking at my location page too, just to make sure I did the changes right that you suggested?
Yeah. Right. I'll just look at the first one. Yes. The one thing I would do differently is, this looks nice and all that, but they have to scroll along. They're trying to, well, do you have a separate contact page? You don't.
Yes. Get started.
Oh, I would actually call that contact instead of get started.
Oh, really? Or
Yeah,
like
because
schedule.
you're asking me a lot. I don't know yet.
Mhm.
I may want to talk to you, ask you a question, whatever. You're saying, hey, let's go, get started. Give me your money, right? Sign up. And that's too fast.
Okay.
Let's like get married. Right?
Okay.
So let's just say contact. And then, then I can contact you. And the page will look the same. Right? The page will, well, I don't know what your page looks like right now. Let's see. Yeah, you always want the contact form to be high, okay? You want it to be high. Let me just show you this. This is how we do contact pages. See how the form is right there?
Mm-hmm.
Boom. They don't have to go scrolling and look for it.
Mm-hmm.
The map is right up there. They know exactly where she is. Then the directions are there.
Okay.
Right? Oh, and there she is. Yeah. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Okay, hey, Deborah. Oh, you're muted, Deborah.
All right. Hello.
Hello.
Okay. Well, I'm happy to be here today. Merry Christmas, Happy Solstice, whatever it is that sparks your joy at this time of year. I posted a couple of questions in the Facebook group, and that's kind of where my focus is today. I have a couple of related smaller questions, but my questions really have to do with this map that I created that lays out the heroine's journey, and then related to that at a deeper level of detail, plats out where my programs fit in guiding women through the heroine's journey. So that's my first question. How do you use that kind of information on your website, in blog posts, in teaching, and so forth? At one point you really highlighted your private practice roadmap. I know that's still on the Facebook group. I've not seen it very, at least not to, have I seen it very recently, very prominently displayed on your website. So it seems like you've made some changes or changes in your thinking with that. So I want to glean from your wisdom.
Okay. So, so really the way that you use a roadmap like that is to map out your process from taking somebody from A to B. A is where they're at now, B is where they want to be. And so if you say, here are my steps, here's the plan for getting here, it typically helps people feel like, this person actually has a system, they have a plan, they have a structured journey for me to take. And people tend to trust that more than I can help you, okay? So I'm not sure if you have done it that way, if you've mapped out the heroine's journey rather than your journey that you're taking them on.
It's both. And the heroine's journey is actually grounded in research and other people's writing. It's not something that I created from scratch, but I have integrated some Joseph Campbell stuff with some stuff from Maureen Murdoch and my own insight and wisdom. But my programs are structured. I do have an A to B process.
Is that what your picture is?
No.
Your process? Okay.
No, my process is the heroine's journey.
Okay, so
I could create a picture of my program processes.
Yeah, that's what my picture is. My picture is my process. Okay. And that's, I mean, the person who teaches this in and out throughout, you know, like in depth is Aaron Fletcher,
Okay.
the Fletcher method. And I think he has a cheap Facebook group type, cheap training Facebook group, and then it goes all the way up to, you know, more in-depth training. At least he used to. I used his stuff to map out my process, and then I used it, and unfortunately we got distracted, is what I would say. So
You got busy.
yeah. So what you do in terms of creating content and lead magnets and stuff that pulls people into your journey is you look at each point in that process and you create a lead magnet for it. That's really ultimately where you go. And you also create blog posts, and you know, you can create videos, podcasts, whatever. You can look at each step in the process and you can say, like, my first one is niche, right? So what are the questions people have about niches? We could probably write 5-10 blog posts on that. We could do videos on that. We could do a lead magnet on that. And in fact, we had a lead magnet running on that, and it was amazing. We got really high opt-in rates and all of that. But what we realized was people who are still worrying about their niche are not our customer because they didn't buy. They're on our list, they get our stuff, maybe in 5 years they'll buy, 3 years they'll buy, whatever. So it's not a totally lost cause. However, a lot of people are just thinking about going into practice when they're thinking about what their niche is. So we had this amazing training. And in fact, we train people on that when they do go in our process as the first step.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of them just didn't convert.
Mm-hmm.
So part of the process is determining what the hot items are on your process that are really going to get people in, like appeal to the person who is really ready to buy. What is their question?
Because your big lead magnet now is your 9-point checkpoint. You know, that's the thing you've got as your homepage. That's at least when I go to your website,
Right.
What looks like your big.
Yeah, so that's later in my process, right? So if you were to look at, let's see, I don't have the Facebook up. Let me just go here and bring it up. There we go. All right, let me share my screen. All right, so here's my process.
Right.
Okay. I created this great lead magnet here. Whoa. Got all sorts of opt-ins and all that. They didn't convert.
And that's for the niche, you know, figure out what your niche is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now I'm focusing on this instead. And
Okay.
these people are converting better.
Okay.
Because they're actually in the process of building the site, which means they've decided they're in private practice. They're actually doing something. They're in the throes of struggling, as we all know. Once you decide, oh, I'm going to go do this, and you start doing it, then you're like, what the hell am I supposed to have on this thing? Oh,
Right.
crap, this is a lot more complicated than I thought. So they're
Right.
better buyers because their pain is right in target with what I solve.
Right.
And so that's why we changed that to that. Okay.
Okay. So, and I can do that, you know, every one of my programs is structured that way.
Mhm.
It leads people from the beginning to the end. That is
Mhm.
based on the whole concept you learned years ago in graduate school about how to do a structure group. That's what they are, only these are
Mhm.
for individuals.
Mhm.
And I'm going to look and see if I can convert Heroin Within to be a group program.
Mhm.
That will be interesting to see if I can do that. But for right now, they're individuals, individual programs. So then how do I figure out what my main lead magnet is going to be that will get people, capture them at that sweet spot like you found with you and I.
Just like me, it's a matter of trial and error. You can guess the best you can guess, and then you see if it works. And you got to run it for a while. You got to get traffic to it. You got to get people opting in. You got to see if they convert. And then if they don't, you go, well, crap, what am I going to do now? And then you make another guess on, okay, I think based on what I learned from this, that maybe if we did this further down in the funnel, or these are the questions people have more than that, or even there were a ton of questions on niche actually, but they just weren't the right buyers. So the volume was there, but they weren't the right people that bought. So
they weren't ready yet. They weren't ready yet. Mm-hmm.
Right. And so we went further down in the funnel, and now that seems to be working better. But ultimately, I'm probably going to tweak this thing a bit, right? All of this marketing stuff, unfortunately, is not formulaic in terms of do this, do that, do this, and you got it, right? It's always trial and error. So we're going to tweak this a little bit, because one of the things I'm seeing in my high-end coaching program is that people are getting calls now, and a lot of them aren't confident in converting those calls. They're saying, well, I'm getting all these calls, but I can't get them to come every week. They're only coming like every other week or once a month or whatever. And then I'm like, okay, let's talk through the phone call. And the person is really not confident, let's just say.
Well, they need Christian Mickelson. They need somebody who teaches, that's their specialty. And
I can include a thing in here about that, right? Where I teach them how to do that call much better later on in the funnel once their traffic starts coming in. So you're always going to be improving your program, hopefully, and modifying this to some degree. And so bottom line, there's a whole bunch of different things that I could do as lead magnets for this. But I think mine is too, like citations, no one's even going to know what that is. I would never do a lead magnet on that.
Right.
So I may combine these two or something, or combine all these three and then have some different, I don't know what I'm going to do. But next year I'm going to be playing with this.
Can you send a link in the chat to that person who does the phone call, Deborah, that you were saying?
Oh, sure. I can tell you his name. There's two actually, and lots of people teach this.
I just hired a client care coordinator, and I'm trying to teach her about doing phone intakes. So,
well, one person who teaches it is Christian Mickelson, Mickelson, Christian Mickelson. If you want a really abbreviated version of it, Casey Truffo, Truffo, and hers is more psychotherapist oriented because she's a therapist. Casey Truffo or Christian Mickelson is a coach. And hold on, there's one more. Let me see if I can see it on my bookshelf real quick.
How do you spell Truffo?
Truffo. She was one of the first who started teaching about how to market for therapists. Casey, Casey, Truffo, Truffo. And it's all about building the connection. And what Becky teaches, I just reviewed your 30-minute lead magnet thing into private practice transformation. What she teaches about building the connection and pre-selling on your website, that's crucial.
Okay.
So look those people up. And there's a third person, and I'm Bill Barron, Billbaren. Bill Barron also teaches on how to do the discovery call. But they're coaching oriented.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm taking some of that stuff. I just changed my close rate from like 30% to 58% by using some guy's program.
Wow.
And I'm now going to be putting that into my system for therapists specifically.
Are you putting it into Private Practice University?
I don't know. Honestly, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with Private Practice University. Hate to tell you.
Don't close, Becky.
We'll see. It's just that, you know, the truth is a lot of people do it, and the percentage of people with the amount of help we provide that actually fully launch their site is pretty low. Okay? So there's all these videos, and there's the once a month call, and there's a certain percentage of people who are successful, and they're typically the go-getter types like you guys. But you don't know how many people have gone through there and haven't done squat, right? So then I, as a provider, go, okay, why am I maintaining this thing? Why am I doing all this? My high-end coaching program is a lot more expensive, but the results are so much better.
The private practice transformation?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you'd done that, I'd have done it.
Right.
But you didn't have it. And so I did this big thing. I climbed Mount Everest myself.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
I know. And then now I'm like, okay, I'm not even selling PPU anymore. I haven't been selling it for like, I don't know, 5 months.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out what to do. So the answer is I do not know where this is going to be. I know it'll be in the high-end coaching program. It may be a standalone training that other people could take. I don't know what I'm going to do. But
well, there's somebody else who teaches a very different philosophy, but she's a marketing guru. She's $1 million coach. I've been in her community almost as long as I've been in yours, Becky, and that's Elizabeth Purvis. And she teaches how to do it without spending an hour on the phone and discovery calls, without having to do selling. In that she doesn't know it, but she has gravitated into more of a psychotherapy program or process where people connect with you, they hear you speak, they read your writing, they get to know you. When they're ready, they say, I know I need help, and this is a person I want to work with. And if you're at all reasonable within the ballpark and they get that you can fix their pain point, they enroll. And she does it in a 15-minute phone call. And she's enrolling people, and she's teaching people how to do it at psychotherapy kind of fees as well as very high-end fees. I mean, very high-end fees, triple what my high-end fee is.
Yeah.
So Elizabeth Purvis is worth following. I mean that to you and anybody. Elizabeth Purvis is worth following. So there's 4 options for you to
Thank you so much.
Look at.
That what you're talking about, Becky, is just resonates with me so much, because as building like this group practice, right? Like nobody knows how many hours goes into doing all this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm trying to pay people like much higher than what's normally that they pay to, and I provide like this like HIPAA compliant phone system and a scheduler now and all this stuff. And
being the business owner is often unappreciated.
Yeah, I've had so many moments during all of this, especially building up to this. I'm like, why am I doing this?
Yes.
I'm in the shower crying right now.
Yes, I know. I hear you, man. And it's just like it's a road, man. It's a journey, ups and downs, and eventually you will get to the place where you have momentum. You know.
Yeah. Is your coaching the thing that you guys were talking about that you're doing, the coaching, is that like a one-on-one, like it's ongoing?
It is. It's a very structured, here's how we do our sites. And here's how we do like the Google My Business. I mean, it's very similar to this, but it's more structured even. And then we have a private Facebook group, of course, where we answer questions. We also have 2 calls a week. Zoom calls.
And she takes people through one thing at a time.
Yeah.
Okay. And they all do it together, and they can ask questions, and they get 2 calls a week with her. Yeah. And it's way better, honestly. And you get it done in like 2 months instead of 6 or 7, which is what I took.
I've done almost everything that you had told us to do on Private Practice University.
Right.
And right now I'm in the group through Joe Sanok. Like for the group, build a group practice.
Yeah.
What I want is more one-on-one. I want somebody that's gonna be as passionate about all this stuff as I'm being.
Yeah. Yeah, we could do, let's do our hour phone consult and see how that is, because then it can be totally just very customized to you. My dog's going to bark, by the way. It's going to be very customized to exactly where you're at in your process, and we can look at that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Becky, I have a couple more questions.
Mm-hmm.
I am considering, I'm going through the process of making some architectural changes, and my daughter, who's doing a master's degree in GPS stuff, web application GPS stuff, and is a techno geek, is going to help me with the redesign. And we're not changing any of the content. I'm not changing the silos. I'm not changing any of the genius of your system, just some architectural changes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to consolidate my programs under a tab, a folder, either called programs or specialties. And rather than using transform your life, transform your marriage, fulfill your destiny, I'm thinking I'm going to talk about trauma healing and couples coaching and, the keywords that I have done the deep dive to find
Mm-hmm.
as my tabs under the folder.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that will be more compelling to people initially.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe this is a question for follow-up in the PPU Facebook group. But I still want to find some way on the website to talk about the heroine's journey, because that's the aspirational identity that Donald Miller talks about in Soul Detective. And especially when you're doing all this deep healing work and you're an ambitious, accomplished woman leader, that really pulls you through. That pulled me through so much. That connection myself and that idea that this is where I'm going. So where would you use this idea? If it's not in the roadmap, would you might suggest blog posts about this idea, about the heroine's journey?
Sure.
It's really brilliant. It's really elegant.
Yeah, you can totally do that. I still think that if you're selling programs and you're selling nationally,
yes,
you still need to figure out how you're going to get traffic.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, I am doing the
partnership
accelerator thing.
Are you getting traffic now with that?
I'm starting to.
Okay.
Once I get the Soul Shift program page up, and some of these changes on the website, I'm not going to wait till they're all done. I anticipate will be done by the end of January. So once that's complete, then I'm going to really ramp that up and hit that up. And then I'm going to start doing some writing and looking for writing opportunities and speaking opportunities. So that's the partnership accelerator. That's going to be.
So how is that different than what Purvis is doing? And why aren't you just following what she does if it's so similar to your audience?
We have similar audiences, but not exactly the same. And she primarily teaches marketing coaching, and her method is magic. And I mean it, real bona fide, genuine magic. She's a 25-year plus Wiccan high priestess, and it's just energy work. I've studied with her. It's just another lineage of energy work. Her fees are more than I want to pay to learn the nuts and bolts. And I haven't been able to reverse engineer it closely enough. And she has 50, 60, 75,000 fans on Facebook. She has a huge social media following. She has, and I don't know, various different targeted groups in Facebook, and she's all over. She's not just on Facebook. She's on Pinterest. She's on Instagram. She's on blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, all that happens once you get momentum, if you want to do it. But I'm still trying to figure out how, like changing, trauma healing, whatever, putting the couples, whatever, that's still not going to help you get people who are going, oh my God, that's what I need. I think you're going to need to do Facebook ads or something in order to get it nailed. It's still not going to be an SEO play, because it's not going to be a national SEO play.
I know it's not an SEO play. So I'm not thinking about that so much as I'm thinking about when people get to my site, however they get there. And there's you may not be really on the radar with all of this, but there's a huge growing group of people, women involved in women's spirituality and women's circles all over the world.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I know that. But
And,
still,
and those people are part of my bigger pool.
right. But
Now,
I
not
think,
all of them
I think,
will be because they
Deborah,
can't afford me.
I think
but-
it's a mistake to say when people get to my website and focus on that, because you have not yet figured out how to get them there. I think you should take one program and figure out how to sell that one program. Otherwise, you're just fixing all these things forever. I think that you should, and I know this is probably not very fun to receive, but until you can sell one program, you don't have a business. You got to be able to sell the one program, right? Like to scale it. And then once you sell one, then you can figure out how to sell the other ones.
Well, I'm leading with Soul Shift. That's my one program. Okay.
Okay, so define that one and then figure out how to sell it so that you know every single month I can sell 10 of these or whatever it is that you want. And don't focus on any other ones until you get that goal met.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would do.
Mm-hmm.
It is really hard to be selling a whole bunch of other things. Just ask me. I've been selling way too many things.
I hear you. I'm focusing on Soul Shift, and then the next step is Heron Within. But I'm actively going to promote Soul Shift.
Yeah, get that
that's
going
the entry
first.
point.
Yeah.
That's the entry point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Until you get that one selling predictably, don't focus on anything else. No website changes, no nothing. Get traffic there, be able to sell that thing, whether it's Purvis model or discovery calls that are half hour or an hour or whatever, who knows. Just get to where you know I can do this, and this is what comes out the back end. And then you are going to learn so much about this whole process. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's my focus for this year. That's my focus for this year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's like the positioning of these things is what has to come first before you worry about changing stuff on your website or whatever. What are they buying? What are they looking for? How do you reach them? And how do you communicate that you're going to give them what they want?
Well, Soul Shift is all about healing that one thing that's holding you back from what you want. It's the change that makes all the difference. That's what Soul Shift is. And that's why it's the entry point.
So I would just take the concept of it, and like private practice transformation, we are finally selling that thing like clockwork. Okay. $2,500 a pop, price going to go up next year, but it has made a huge difference in figuring out how to sell it. And when I started it, I didn't have it created. I had two weeks of the 9 weeks done, but it didn't matter because I needed to learn how to sell it first. Right. And so as soon as I started getting buyers, whoa, then I'm ready, right? Go finish that damn thing. Right. But if I could have polished that turd until the cows came home without selling any of them. Right. So you got to figure out how to get the clients in before you do more stuff. Otherwise, you're just putting it off.
It sounds like exactly how you just explained it too, Deborah, is what would be important for the client to hear. Finding that one thing that's getting in the way of them living the life they want. Mm-hmm. That's what I would connect with.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what soul shift is. And it's not just, and I do it, the deep transformational kind of work. It's the hidden stuff. It's the inner journey, and it's the hidden stuff, and it's the magic of energy psychology.
So
And
take that. Yeah, take that and see how you can find the audience that resonates with that. And make sure that you can get X percentage of them opting in and on your list for X dollars. So that you know every lead costs me $3 or whatever. And then every one of those leads converts into a sale. Not everyone, but a percentage of them. And once you have that formula, then you're golden. Then you can do all this content and all these other things. But until you have that formula working, you do not know what you really should be doing. Because that working is what's going to tell you what you should be doing. That's just like me with the niche thing, right? Got a whole bunch of those. Great. It cost me $1.20 per opt-in. Doesn't matter at all because they don't convert. So then I had to go to a bigger thing. And really, my lead magnet on my site, that's one thing. But really, Facebook ads is what's driving things. And driving to my list.
Do you have any information that you can share about the Facebook ads? Because my clinician's supposed to start January 6th, and I have my site all with her information now, and like she's on there and about her. And I want to start running a Facebook ad, but I want my Facebook to be optimized to, so it'll draw people in.
I wouldn't use Facebook ads for a local therapy practice. I would use Google ads.
I got the gold package with the Google ads.
Okay.
But nobody ever followed up with me about how they were working, like that 6 months or 6 weeks or whatever it was.
3 months.
Yeah.
6 weeks and 3 months. You didn't get
Neither.
I wonder if there's a issue. I wonder if we're blacklisted on your email thing. Like, because you just said
for this.
You get it for this.
I haven't had to use those Google ads yet, so I don't know if that is the why but.
Well, have they been turned on? They're not running?
No, but I didn't have anyone follow up with me either, though. But I want to start running them like now so that I can start driving, because I've been kind of like just allowing the organic stuff still because I am so busy with my private practice.
Right, sure.
Building in somebody else, but I want to get them.
Okay, we can't fine tune if they're not running because there's no data to fine tune, right? So it's like a black box. You have to have stuff coming in before you can fine tune it.
Okay.
So if you told those guys don't run it, then they're waiting to do the 3 month thing. But I'll reach out to Willie and have him. I'll tell him that you want to start doing that.
Okay.
In January, and have him get with you and figure out a game plan.
Well, Becky, I was going to ask you, should I turn those things on now if I want to start filling her up for her like second week in January, or?
Probably, yeah. Because it's going to take a while to, fine tune it, right? What's her specialty?
One of her main ones is teen counseling, which is fantastic because I don't want to work a lot with teens anymore.
Yeah.
Not that I don't like them, they just take a little bit more energy for me for some reason.
Sure.
But I created another ad for teen counseling because I didn't have that specialty. Just using the ads that were in there. So I'm ready to push to go, but I wanted my website to be optimized. That's why I'm kind of freaking out about this whole SEO thing and my page loading time. And
the other thing, depending on who you hired, was it who did you hire for that SEO audit?
I went to Fiverr Pro and just paid like $100 to get, and it was a 40-page detailed report. I mean, there's lots of good, and they said, here, prioritize these things. But I'm trying to outsource some stuff now, like relinquishing control, because I did all of the work on my website myself, which I'm glad that I did, because now I can fine tune and make changes.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason I paid for the Google Ads because I was like, this is a monster. I don't want to learn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With you guys.
It's just that some of those SEO guys on Fiverr are so formulaic in their approach that they're just like, oh, I'm going to run this tool and it's going to tell me blah, blah, blah. And I can give this guy a whole bunch of data and then check, I just made money.
Right.
And it's not necessarily the best.
So
I just want to caution you to worry about what they said.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
What about like building the backlinks?
Don't build backlinks. That's my answer. Every SEO in the world will tell you to build backlinks.
Don't do it.
No, because and especially don't hire some bozo to go do it, because they're going to build a bunch of crap backlinks and your site's going to get penalized. Happens all the time.
I did read about that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, it happens all the time. And unless you're tracking what they're creating, you're basically paying somebody to trash your business.
So
we don't
What are backlinks? Becky, what are backlinks?
Backlinks are links that come into your site. So let's say that I'm nationally trying to compete for weight loss, right? So I can go out, I can have a site that's all about weight loss, and then I can go out and say, hey, go build me a bunch of backlinks. And people will do what's called private blog networks, PBNs, where they will put up a bunch of crappy sites that they control, and then they'll link to your site from these sites. Mm-hmm. And they have to hide them and stuff because it's against Google's terms of service. And they do tricks and Google catches up to them eventually and then kills your site.
Do you guys provide that kind of thing?
We don't do backlinks. What we do is
SEO. I would rather have somebody go in and do some of these changes so I can kind of I'm writing policy and procedures right now. I'm up to
here's what we could do, Isaac. Our scorecard is this. So we do a scorecard analysis of the site. We go through and we say, if it were ours, we would change this, 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 and this, right? All these different things. Mm-hmm. Then we go over it and you can say, hey, can you guys do, I'm going to do these 3 items. Can you guys do these other 7? And I'll say, yes, we can. I'll give you an estimate.
Okay.
So we totally do that. But we rank based on content and blog posts and interlinking. We do not go out and do that backlink building crap. It's not needed for a local site.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I have I guess one of the great things is that the therapist I just hired, she had a private practice and her site is now pointing to mine.
Awesome.
So I have that, and I've also done some webinars for one of the major hospitals and UCs, and I've been on some podcasts. I don't know how to take all this stuff that I'm part of and make it work for my business. I need a person that's I'll work really hard all the time, but I need some support and do this, guy, or here you're hired.
Yeah, if we do the scorecard and we do all the changes for you, you're going to have a relationship with one of our project managers at that point, and they're going to know your business and your site. And then the second phase could be, hey, I'm on this podcast. I've done these videos. I've done this. Can you integrate this in? And then they can say, yeah. And that'll take us 2 hours to do, and yada, yada.
Well, I just booked the call with you, and then I'm going to order this right now.
Okay.
Thank God.
Becky?
No interest on credit cards for 9 months.
Good. Yeah, Deborah.
Would a scorecard analysis might be something worthwhile for me to consider for my site?
I don't think so, because it's very particular to local rankings. It's all about getting somebody ranked locally. I really encourage you to check out the Fletcher method and see what you think of that.
The Fletcher method.
Yeah, the Fletcher method.
Is he on Facebook? From what you've said, it sounds like he just teaches people how to do roadmaps
and market an entire business. Yeah, just look up the Fletcher method. You'll find him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he's, I'm about local ranking, as you know. He's about national traffic to sell high ticket programs. And that's a different play than therapy.
Becky,
Mm-hmm.
do you think it's okay for me to start running those ads with the way that what you just looked at as far as my website? Like, I don't want to be having Google pay for or paying for those things if they're not, I have with this startup business thing, I've already spent so much money. I'd rather not. I'm just worried I might be wasting stuff if my site's not up to par for it.
I'll look at it and get back to you and let you know.
Okay. I just
Okay.
placed that order for that that evaluation or whatnot.
Okay. All right. And I'll look at it to see if you're ready to run ads. You probably are, but I'll double check. Okay?
Okay.
All right, cool.
Becky, my specialty pages, which are about my programs,
Mm-hmm.
were written according to the specialty page blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I need to change them. I don't want to change them. I'm writing the Soul Shift page, which is a program, according to StoryBrand,
Mm-hmm.
the StoryBrand kind of concept and framework.
Mm-hmm.
Was that a disconnect?
No, I think that is fine. I mean, that's how I've written my program pages, is StoryBrand. Okay. Either one of them are fine in terms of you're talking about the pain. I mean, they're both just two different systems to do the same thing, right? To take somebody from this point to that point and show you as the expert who can do it and have them understand their pain, right? Resonate with the pain that they're feeling and feel that you have a solution. So they're just two different systems for the same exact thing. One from Sean D'Souza originally, modified by me, and another one by, what's his face?
Donald Miller.
Donald Miller. Yeah, Mr. StoryBrand. Because I can't remember
the original story marketing guy.
Yeah. So they're both the same thing. I think that for a program where you don't have to worry about SEO, it's not an SEO play, that StoryBrand is probably better because it's not going to be as long, right? With specialty pages, we need length in order to rank, but you're never going to rank those programs anyway. So StoryBrand is more concise.
Well, this page is kind of long because even though I followed the protocol, there's a lot that I describe in it to show them, the high value of what this program is.
Mm-hmm.
What would it do for you to finally find that thing that's kept you blocked, that thing that you haven't been able to find, that conventional methods haven't found, that haven't resolved. What would it do for you?
Right.
And I do answer some objections. So I follow a lot of the specialty page blueprint. And because it's a Squarespace site, I can do SEO on it. So I've chosen, a specific term as the primary keyword and have a couple of secondary keywords for it.
Yeah, that's fine. It's just, just don't spend too much time on it because you're probably not going to rank nationally. That's all. Yeah.
I'm not sure I agree with you on that, but it might take a
you
while.
Can, awesome.
And if I do, I will email you or I will post it.
You do. You say, nah, I did. And I'll say, okay, how many searches a month does that word get? 2? I just, I play in the national market. It took me years to rank nationally. Right? Yeah.
Well, according to Sean Patel and his new SEO tool, it looks possible.
Yeah.
Honestly, there's the traffic there and it looks possible. There's the traffic for these terms and it looks possible.
That's good.
So I know you keep saying that, but
yeah.
And I know that's not the primary thing. And I'm not planning this. I'm not going for it as if it is.
Yeah.
Okay. I know it takes another route, more activity on my part.
Yeah.
Than
Shortest route, get it selling. And then over time, SEO kicks in, it's awesome. But get it selling first.
okay.
Cool. All right. We are there time-wise, guys.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, sure. So go ahead. If you have any other questions, post them in the group, and I'll get back to them. And Isaac, I'll go ahead and look to see if you're ready for ads, and I'll talk to Willie, and we'll get back to you.
I'm going to do all that. I'm just filling out the analytics so that I can link you guys to mine.
Okay, good.
Because I've had it linked and integrated for a long time, so I have a lot of data.
Okay, good.
And then I signed up for the hour thing with you.
Yeah, awesome.
Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Becky, I would just also suggest if you close PPU, find a way to archive it. I hate to lose the access to that wonderful library. That's all I'm requesting.
I know. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
You too.
Blessed solstice to everyone.
All
okay.
right. Take care.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.